1, go. Careful. What are you doing? Are you okay?
Welcome to Power Drifting, the rally game podcast. This is a bonus stage episode, a shorter solo-driven trip down memory lane, or should that be special stage memory lane, where either I, Tom, or my co-driver Mike shoot the breeze for 10 to 15 minutes about a rally game from history that maybe isn't very well known, is really bad or good, or that just didn't really set the world alight upon its original release. With that in mind, in this bonus stage, I will be taking a look at the 2000 PlayStation game Michelin Rally Masters Race of Champions. Let's go! Rally Masters Race of Champions was developed by Digital Illusions and released by Infogrames back in 2000. It was released on the PlayStation and Windows, and I believe there was a port for the Nintendo 64 in development, but that was under the name Test Drive Rally. It was shown in some magazines, but for whatever reason it was cancelled, probably due to the fact that the N64 was coming to the end of its life. We know that the PlayStation and Windows continued way after 2000, but the N64 was looking to be replaced by the GameCube around that time, so I can totally see why they decided to cancel it. Now, the name of the developer is interesting as well. Even though it's Digital Illusions, they actually went on to become DICE after being bought by Electronic Arts, and they're responsible today for the development of the Frostbite engine, and some games you may be familiar with are things like Rally Sport Challenge 1 and 2, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, the Battlefield series, and Mirror's Edge. So DICE are still very much a company that are in the limelight for good and bad reasons today. But yeah, this is one of their earlier games and is one of the better rally games, in my opinion, for the original PlayStation. I will say that I am looking specifically at the PlayStation game here, not the PC version, because I haven't played the PC version. But I'm led to believe, for all intents and purposes, that it is pretty much the same game, just with superior visuals.
3, 2, 1, go. 4 left. 3 right, tight.
Now, the game's name, Rally Masters Race of Champions, that comes from the official license that the game holds. It doesn't have an official WRC license, but what it does have is the official license of the Michelin Rally Masters competition. Now, for those who don't know, the Race of Champions is an annual event where drivers from the WRC, Formula One, NASCAR, and various touring car championships come together to compete in races in identical cars around specially designed sprint courses. You know those courses in rally games, usually at the end of the season or at the end of a stage, at the end of a country stage, where it's you versus another vehicle on the same track and you just kind of race against each other going through the checkpoints. It's basically that. It's a nice gimmick. It's quite a niche thing. I mean, I wasn't really aware of this competition until I'd looked into this game. I did have it back when it came out on the PlayStation, but I didn't know that it was an official game of an official competition back then. It's only having looked into it after the fact that I realised that it's actually a real competition that's still going. It's also one of the only rally games I've played that features the brother of the late great Colin McRae, Alistair McRae, who was a WRC rally driver, and I believe he went on to do races in other things, such as the Paris-Dakar Rally. But I hadn't seen him in anything before or since. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please let me know. But it's nice to see that Alistair McRae, as well as his brother, are both in this game. So it's a nice little bit of trivia. But yeah, let's take a look at the facts around the game. Let's take a look at some of the courses, the cars, and the gameplay modes before I get into my opinion on how this game plays. Okay, so upon first firing the game up, one of the things you'll notice about Rally Masters is just how many different types of championship mode it has. There's a lot here. There's a lot of content to play through. You do get your standard time attack and single rally modes where you can just spend some time in one country doing the different special stages, which I'll come to in a second. But first of all, a quick rundown of the different championships that you have at your disposal. So the first one is called the Rally Masters Championship, which is the main kind of marquee Race of Champions mode. where you race in identical cars against your opponent around these sprint courses that I previously described. There are different knockout rounds where you need to win to stay in the competition, and the cars that you get given are actually randomly generated for each heat. Obviously, if you lose too many rounds, then you're eliminated. Moving on from that, you've got the Rally Masters Cup, which is quite similar to the Championship mode, but you start at the quarter-final stage, and you must win your quarter-final heat, then your semi-final heat, and then the final to move on to the next country special sprint stage. It's very similar, as I say, to the Championship mode, just a little bit shorter. And finally, you've got the Rally Masters Trophy, which is kind of like the usual rally mode that you would get in a WRC game with point-to-point races against the clock, no other cars on the track. You just race from point A to point B, and you get time to repair your car in between each stage as per the norm, really. That's actually the mode that I played the most, because even though the Rally Masters modes are quite fun, I do prefer the kind of lonely race against the clock that standard rally games afford you. Now, speaking of countries, there are 6 included, but only 5 of them have the full complement of courses. So these are Italy, Sweden, Indonesia, USA and England. There's also Gran Canaria, but that only has a Race of Champions sprint course. Each country has a variety of courses which are split over different types. You've got between 1 and 5 rally special stages, as you would imagine, SS stages, in each country. You also have 3 self-contained loop courses, which are in different variations of length. So you've got short, medium and long. You've also got a sprint course, again, in each country for the Race of Champions mode. And they all have their own distinct feel. You can change the time of day, weather, that can be altered. You've got the usual surface types, asphalt, mud, gravel, etc. Now, vehicles, there are 20 vehicles, and they're split into 3 distinct vehicle types. You've got Formula 2, WRC, and Legend. Now, Legend, for all intents and purposes, is Group B, or rather, a lot of the vehicles are from Group B. I'll just give a quick rundown of the different vehicles. So in Formula 2, you have a Peugeot 306, the Ford Escort Cosworth, a Renault Megane Maxi, Skoda Octavia kit car, Citroen Zara kit car, and a Hyundai Coupe. WRC, you've got the Toyota Corolla WRC, Ford Escort WRC, Peugeot 206 WRC, Skoda Octavia WRC, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6. Now, in the Legend category, you have the Audi S1, Peugeot 205 T16, the Toyota Celica GT4, Lancia Delta Integrale. It's worth noting that the Lancia Delta in this game doesn't have the Martini Racing livery that it does in Sega Rally, which is a bit of a bummer, but you can't have it all. You do get the Toyota Celica GT4, which is a nice touch. You also get the Lancia 037, the Lancia Delta S4 and the Lancia Stratos. There's 2 extra cars as well, which you can use in different game modes. They are the Buggy, which is like a little single-seater off-road buggy thing, and also the Toyota RAV4, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is a kind of people carrier-esque vehicle. One of the most unremarkable things about Michelin Rally Masters is the audio. The music's pretty perfunctory, if that's the right word. You've got standard noises, little sound effects when you go through the menus, etc. But when you're actually in the game proper, when you're in the races, I mean, the engine sound pretty good, but the co-driver is pretty basic. There's no music. There's not even any music when the course starts, when you get the little intro showing you the layout of the course. It's very bare bones, to be honest, so there's not really a great deal to talk about. It's perfectly functional, but nothing amazing. Where this game does shine, though, is in the controls, in my opinion. It plays a very different game to something like Colin McRae or Rallycross or something like that, in that the cars are very much geared towards sliding around corners as opposed to just being able to be turned. If you go into this game trying to race towards a corner, slam on the brakes and then turn and think that you're going to get through it, you're very much mistaken. This is a game where you need to anticipate what you're going to do before you even get to a corner. You need to be ready to get that car sliding before you've got... I'm not talking about something like Outrun 2. It's not like that, or Ridge Racer, but it's in the same vein. So you need to be anticipating the corner and getting the car ready to get around it before you even get to it. It's very hard to explain, but it's very slip-slidey, and for that I actually really love it. It won't be everybody's cup of tea. If you go from something like Colin McRae Rally straight to this, you will be completely thrown off by how the game controls, because if you use the knowledge that you had from that game in Rally Masters, you're not going to get very far. It's a different kettle of fish completely. But with that said, it's actually really satisfying when you do get the hang of it. And for that reason, I was originally going to give this game a pretty low score because of just how basic the visuals are, how ordinary the sound is. But it's actually the way the cars handle. It really grows on you when you start playing it. There is a distinct difference in the way the cars handle on different surfaces, but ultimately it all boils down to that kind of very loose, very slidey gameplay. And for that, I have to applaud it. It's something that won't be everybody's, thing, but for me, it really, really struck home about just how once you get the hang of it, it becomes very satisfying. So Rally Masters then, in summary, it's an odd little game, and it does have its problems. As I say, the sound's not amazing. Some of the game modes can be a little bit confusing because you're not really sure what it is you're letting yourself in for until the races start. So, even looking through the manual, it's hard to really get a feel for what kind of races you're going to be entered into when you choose a particular championship mode. That said, what's here in terms of gameplay is really good fun. And, it doesn't look the best, doesn't sound the best, but where it matters in how it plays, it really does shine. So, if you see it cheap, give it a shot, because it's not Colin McRae, it's not Rallycross, but what it has got going for it is its own distinct style. And the added little bonus of having the Race of Champions license tacked on there is quite interesting. Well, the only other game I can think of that's got a Race of Champions license would be Rally Fusion on the Xbox. I could be wrong there, that's just off the top of my head. But it's nice that they try to do something a little bit different as opposed to just continually, put out standard point-to-point rally races. Yeah, so as I say, if you see this one cheap, give it a whirl. I'm going to give it a score. I'm going to give it a score of 7 out of 10. So 7 out of 10 for Rally Masters on the PlayStation. But, you might have a different opinion. Please let me know. Let us know on Twitter if you want to. It's at PowerDriftPod. And if you feel the need to give us a review on iTunes telling us how poor our efforts are or how good they are, you can do so. You'll find us on iTunes and Spotify, and you can find our website at powerdriftingpodcast.com. Okay, until next time, thank you very much for listening. This is Tom signing off.